There is no country without history, ladies and gentlemen. And there is no history without heroes. The importance of remembering our history and the need to celebrate the makers and shapers of the history cannot be overemphasized. Mashujaa Day is the day to honor the heroes and the sheroes whose actions and personal sacrifices have influenced the course of our national history. Ladies and gentlemen, the darkness of colonial period will remain forever alive in our national memory. Whereas the entire colonial period was a difficult time for our country, no account of history can adequately describe the atrocities that the nation and the people of Kenya endured during the period of state of emergency that the colonial government enforced on us on October 20, 1952. That day of October 1952 became the hallmark date in the history of our struggle for freedom, and we made it a day to pay tribute to our independence heroes, from the Kapenguria 6 who were arrested on that day to all those who fought to free Kenya from the chains of colonialism. Although we speak of October 1952 as a turning point in the history of our struggle for liberation, tales of heroism predates that day of October and continued thereafter. I want to pay my profound respect to all those men and women who have had the historic responsibility of leading our country into various capacities. It is because of the cumulative wisdom of our leaders and the divine guidance that for 6 decades, Kenya has remained a beacon of peace and stability in a continent beset with conflicts. It is important to remember that the new constitution of Kenya has given a meaning to Mashujaa celebrations. The framers of our new constitution expanded Mashujaa Day celebration from honoring only those who took part in the independence struggle to celebrating all those who dedicated their lives to the people and the nation of Kenya. Accordingly, anyone who is admired for great or brave acts, anyone with fine or noble qualities, anyone associated with special abilities or achievements, and anyone considered by others as role model in their village or neighborhood forms part of the heroes and sheroes we celebrate. In every village of our county, we are endowed with an array inspirational men and women whose heroic acts radiate all over. People whose actions, personal sacrifices, and wisdom have left behind indelible trails of admiration, love, and respect. From community elders and religious leaders who are the builders of peace and inter-ethnic harmony, the teachers who wake up every morning with the only goal of molding the minds and the hearts of our children, the health workers who devote their lives to saving the lives of others, men and women in uniform who defend our country from internal and external aggressions, moms and dads who toil hard every day to pay for their child's education, those generous neighbors who every weekend participate in Harambes. This day is marked to celebrate you. You are all our heroes. Fellow countrymen and women, Kenya is not only an independent country, but also a democratic nation. Our 6 decades of independence is a story of a democratic progress, sometimes slow, oftentimes unsteady and incomplete progress, but progress. And that progress was not achieved by just a handful of leaders or famous politicians. It was born of countless quiet acts of heroism and dedication by citizens, by ordinary Kenyans, young and old, who refused to be bystanders to history, but came forward to fight for expansion of democratic space. People who marched, mobilized resources and voices in support of democracy. And above all, people who voted to make history. But we are still a young nation, and our democracy remains a work in progress. Our freedom of expression, our governance structures, and our nation's civic space all remain highly susceptible to the slightest form of shocks. Our country's leadership, from the national to county levels, from independence to today, has not been perfect. We made mistakes, and we continue to make mistakes. At times, we lost sight of our ideals. The net effect is that our progress, democratic or otherwise, has not moved in a straight line. That is why in June this year, a legitimate demand for good policies by the youth of Kenya nearly brought the nation to its knees. Many precious lives were lost, properties were destroyed, buildings were vandalized. For the first time in our history, our country's parliament building was stormed with ugly scenes observed therein. Luckily for us, the president responded with such a wisdom that he complied with all the key demands put forward by the protesters, including the suspension of the Finance Bill 2024. With the suspension of the Finance Bill, delivery of services was interrupted across the country, and the annual allocation earmarked for counties was slashed. In our county, our budget for this year stands the risk of being reduced by about Kenya shillings 300 million. Besides the reduction in shareable revenue, we had to face a serious delay in extra releases from the National Treasury. As of today, the last disbursement we have received from the National Treasury is that of July allocation. That is why our county staff have not received salaries for August and September. Whereas I have been informed that we will be able to pay August salaries within the course of next week, we must be prepared for continuity of this kind of delays because of issues beyond the control of county leadership. This is not an issue limited to Marsabit. It is a nationwide challenge and a consequence of the events we witnessed in June. Beloved people of Marsabit, we are marking this Mashujaa Day at a time when the sitting deputy president has been impeached and a new one is yet to be sworn in. This is definitely an unprecedented moment, but not totally unanticipated. Whereas His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, the Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, has maintained a dignified silence, it has been clear for some time that all is not well in the ruling coalition. We should therefore use this day to pray to the Almighty to anchor peace in our nation, stability in our country's political governance, and that He accords our President and our country's leadership the wisdom to steer this nation to prosperity in love and in unity. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency the President of our Republic, the Honorable Dr. William Ruto, has decided that every national holiday or every national celebration will focus on a specific theme to highlight the strides made in achieving national aspirations in a given sector. Accordingly, the theme of this year's Mashujaa Day is affordable housing, which is one of the key components of the government's bottom-up economic transformation agenda. The government intends to build at least 250,000 housing units every year across the country. The program aims not only to increase access to affordable housing, but also to create job opportunities. While the initiative is yet to begin in Marsabit, we have established the County Urban and Rural Affordable Housing Committee and linked it up with the National Affordable Housing Board in readiness for takeoff once the plan for Marsabit is put in place. Beloved countymen and women, as we celebrate this 15th Mashujaa Day, we must also celebrate the peace we have been enjoying in Marsabit the past 2.5 years. It is not lost on us that this peace is born of the collective resolve of our people to say goodbye to all forms of hatred and conflicts and embrace harmonious coexistence. Let us all pray that the peace we now enjoy continues into abyss of time, that the band of love and brotherhood we have rebuilt grows stronger every day, and that the harmony prevailing in our county lasts forever. Let it be our endeavor that we jealously guard this peace in thought, in deed, and in spirit.